Hello, in today's demonstration, I am going to mix three colors. I've got a cadmium yellow deep, an ash blue, and a titanium white. I'm going to mix them spontaneously on the Gelli plate, uh, probably thicker, gloppier, and then I'm going to use white paper, brown paper, black paper, gray paper, because I want to see how the same color palette, how it changes depending on the background surface color. Okay. So we did this directly last week on, some of us, it was a paper bag. I want to do it on the Gelli plate, and I'm trying to do things in a more spontaneous, freeform fashion. Okay, so I could mix over here. Let's see. I'm just going to start. I'm going to use this silicone spatula, and I really don't have any kind of plan. I'm just putting my paint on there, and I'm letting it mix. As a matter of fact, I can even mix it right on there if I want. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do some studies just with palette knife, some with brush. So not only three different colors, but different color backgrounds and techniques. So now I'm going to mix a little bit off to the side if I want the color to be a little more mixed. What am I trying to say here? More pure without streaks in it. And I can even leave some blank space if I want. I can do a little bit of sgraffito. I'm going to use this palette knife that has these teeth in it. Somebody needs to mute themselves, please. Okay, I will start with white paper. Okay, here's my one on white paper. I've got thick glops of paint that I can leave that way, or I can manipulate them a little bit on the surface before it gets dry. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. I want it a little bit smoother. I can even take my scraper. I don't have enough space here to do this. Okay, here's my scraper. I can scrape directly on the paper. If I don't have a scraper like that, I could take a toothpick and do sgraffito. Oops. Right there. Okay, I'll put this off to the side. Now I still have quite a bit of paint on there. I am going to mush that around with my brush. And just go right into the next painting, which will have a similar structure, but I'm going to diverge a little bit. Again, no overall plan, just responding to what I see going on there with the three colors. Haven't even used any water yet. Okay, I'm now going to pull this one on black paper. Okay, there's my print on black paper. Again, it's kind of thick, so if I want to scrape some of that down, I can. So I'm still manipulating the paint on the printed surface. I will come back later and add more, so I'm going to leave that alone and go on to my next one. I'm going to incorporate the printmaking brayer right now. So I'm just giving you different ideas. It's going to do a direct roll here. Okay, now I'm using a big ratty old house painting brush. Okay, now I'm going to pull a print on this brown paper. If you don't have paper like this, you could use a grocery bag. Okay, there is my print on brown paper. Again, I'm going to smooth these marks down. Now I'm going to use my finger. Okay, I'm setting that to the side. I'll come back and do some more work on it. Now, the last print will be on gray paper. And you can also play with amounts. So I had more blue in the previous ones. This one I'm going to go a little bit more orange. And what I like about mixing it right there with the brush is I'm going to pick up all these scrubby brush marks. Now I'm just getting really sloppy, and I'm using all the leftover paint, just kind of letting it mix together what's there on the palette. Go a little more white right there. And what's great about this, if you don't like it, you can just re-mush it around. Okay, now onto gray paper. Okay, that's what I get on the gray paper. Still have a lot of paint on here, so I'm going to come back. I think I'm going to go with another black sheet of paper. Okay, there's another print. All right, let me put this off to the side, and then I'll show you all 4 prints. And I think I will add some more layers to them. Okay, so here are I'm calling them print paintings. There's one. So that's white paper. Here's gray paper. brown paper and black paper. Okay, so now what I can do, I won't do it to all of them. I can come back and I can add more paint. I could bring in another color if I want. We started with limitations, and then I like to add in a little more spice, as I call it. So I think, which ones am I going to work on? I think I'm going to skip the white for now. And I can use things like charcoal pencil. And I'm just doing this very quickly right now, not with a lot of thought, just so you get the idea. I can outline some things. The great thing about charcoal pencil is if I hit that with some water, it will liquefy and become a paint. Let's see. Best used when your paint is dry, however. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this isn't working so well here. The red worked better. Okay, now I'm going to bring in some red. I think a little bit of Prussian blue. So I'm just going to add a tiny amount, and I'm using the top edge of this silicone spatula. You can also do it with a palette knife. So I can start adding little pops of color in various areas. Here's a damp brush going over that red charcoal pencil. Kind of disappeared. I can draw into it wet, and then that becomes a paint. If I want to go thicker or impasto, I can use my brush 45-degree angle and just glob it on. Okay, here comes the Prussian blue. So I'm adding a little bit more for contrast. I'm going to go to this one. So the purpose of these different studies is to respond rather quickly, making quick compositional decisions, starting with the Gelli Plate. So you generate a lot of little studies, and you can just practice all of this. So now what I'm doing is I'm pushing the painting more towards that Prussian blue and this neutral in there. And the most contrast I have is the white, this blue, orange, dark blue. So changed that one quite a bit. Made it more of a neutral piece. Okay, so that's the general idea. With these quick studies.